Hello, and welcome to the JustCast. Today I'm here with Brack. Go ahead and say hi.
Hi.
We are in for it today. We're in for
We're
it.
in for wet laws.
We're we're in for what now?
Wet laws.
What what is a wet law?
It's an alternate term for maritime or admiralty laws.
What are those?
That is the set of the vast collection of rules of the road for boats.
So is that like an international waters laws, or is it just for...
Yes, but it also counts for seas and whatnot,
Okay,
not just a mile off the coast.
I see. Well, rather I don't see, or rather the seas,
Hmm.
full of laws.
Yeah.
Alright.
You know what a sea is?
I do know what a sea is. There's oceans and there are seas. Like there is the Black Sea and the Red Sea.
Black Sea is not a sea.
Gosh, wait, if the Black Sea is not a sea, then what is
You're
it?
fired. It's just like a saltwater lake.
So wait, then
Like the
why would
Great
they?
Lakes would be seas if they were freshwater, but the terminology was developed in the Old World.
So a sea would be freshwater.
No, it's all saltwater.
It's also
So the oceans are huge, and you generally don't think about where they touch the land.
okay.
Seas are, they have a smaller surface area and a shallower depth, and they're mostly about where they're constricted by land, or occasionally by ocean currents.
Okay. So do they have to be adjacent to the ocean to be considered a sea?
No, but they usually are. Like the Gulf of Mexico is a sea off of the Atlantic Ocean.
I see. I'm going to continue making that pun. I am so sorry.
Yeah, fine. The Black Sea is a little too small. You're familiar with the Mediterranean Sea, even though that's very much connected through the Strait of Gibraltar, and it is massive. It's not an ocean or a lake.
It's just a really big sea then.
Yes,
Okay. So then the
it's
size...
kind of the upper limit.
So what makes the size constraints? Is it just like this feels more like a sea than an ocean and they just spitball it?
It started out that way and eventually it was codified.
Okay.
So some things that are named sea because they were considered such before things got codified, like Pluto,
Poor
still
Pluto.
retain the name without the classification.
Okay. Makes more sense. Is that what happened to the Black Sea probably? I'd assume.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn sea doesn't even know it's not a sea.
It's hard to find the official line between it because it's usually decided on a case by case basis. People love to have huge meetings about this.
I mean, if it's over what defines something as ocean versus sea, I can see why.
Hmm.
Because it would also determine. Because I assume seas would qualify as something that can be owned by countries, like have jurisdiction over.
I believe so, though a lot of them do contain more than a mile of a mile of distance from the coast.
I get you. So everything a mile out is considered generally, like not everywhere, but generally international waters then.
Generally, there are probably fringe cases that I don't know about, but that's usually the rule of thumb.
Okay. I
Is
mean
once
that
you go a mile from the coast, a ship captain can marry you and whatnot.
right. I actually do
Yeah,
know about that. Where they're
everyone knows about that one.
well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. That like dug
Mhm.
up some kind of weird nostalgia in my brain from like a book I read in elementary school about that.
From How I Met Your Mother.
I've never seen that.
Well, I know what we're doing today. Podcast canceled.
Podcast canceled.
Watching
Time to
all of it.
binge. Oh, yeah, no. That's always a fun thing to do. Don't sea captains get a lot of special rights once they're in international waters?
They do, but they also have a lot of responsibilities.
Like, don't sink the ship.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. Looks at the Titanic, looks back. Yeah.
Yes. And that's where we get Solus.
Solus?
Yes.
What's Solus?
I didn't mean to start with all the laws, but we can do this.
Yeah.
That's the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, SOLAS.
Okay. And is that like a group that determines all of the...
That is a set of laws about don't run into an iceberg.
I think that's a pretty good rule. I would say that's probably a 10 out of 10 rule.
It's more about safety standards in the construction because the issues with the Titanic were more that general precautions weren't followed in a much more severe case than, say, the Andrea Doria.
Yeah. I mean, I know that there were some restrictions, or not restrictions, what is the word that I'm looking for? Some of the Titanic stuff has been misconstrued over the years, like the number
Absolutely.
of lifeboats and the availability of exit routes and things like that.
Hmm.
Because I know a lot of that stuff, especially in movies, ended up being very exaggerated, when realistically
Yeah,
it was just poor escape planning and people being selfish.
that is one of it. That is a lot of it. Also, just we are always learning more about safety and construction.
Which is
So
good.
some of the things determined by Solus are that you need ballastable compartments in passenger ships.
Ballistical compartments are the ones where they get water or airlocked, right? Where they can lock them off, or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, so ballast means heavy material
Hmm.
that's used to weigh something down for stability.
Yes.
It's also interchangeable with ballast tank, which is a compartment in a ship that is mainly designated for holding seawater as ballast to
Okay.
make the ship sit lower and more stable
Because if you just fill a ship with air, it's going to pop back up to the surface and dump itself.
and be very easy to lean over.
Yep. I mean,
Something that happened with the Titanic is that a lot of passenger compartments were just connected with no water tightness between each other, and that filled them up very quickly if one section got punctured.
so part of the safety measurements taken nowadays includes letting the ship fill up slower with water so people have time to escape.
If a few bedrooms fill up with water, it's not the entire deck anymore.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. As well as just fire safety.
Yeah, if I
Is usually only brought up in shipwrecks when God, what was the Canadian port one that was really funny? God, I didn't look this one up like my others. Transporting munitions, generally the crew gets a no smoking on deck rule, which sucks for everyone.
yeah, I do know a high amount of sailors that smoke actually. Like the
It's a
vast majority.
stressful job and there's nothing else to do.
I'm sure most people have seen those North Sea videos. I would be smoking too.
It's better than being drunk on the job.
That's true. I would much
But
rather have my sailors be smoking than drunk.
so yes, it's very rare you aren't allowed, at least historically, to smoke on an upper open deck, unless of course you're transporting something extremely flammable.
I assume in the case that you are talking about, they were in fact transporting something extremely flammable.
Yes.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, it would make sense to have a lot of
Yes, the
underdeck.
Halifax explosion.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you some pictures.
All right. No one will ever see them.
I know, but I need your reaction.
Okay.
Go to the PC chat here.
Yep.
What do you think this is?
I will take a little look-see. So it leveled a town.
That's the port town of Halifax.
So when the Halifax explosion happened, it literally leveled a town?
Yes, actually, name of the town or the ship? I believe the ship because it's Canadian. Yes, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, in the 6th of December, 1917. So, end of the First World War. That explains why they were transporting French munitions on the SS Mont Blanc. And it was not smoking, it was a collision.
Okay. So it just like scraped the.
Yep, metal on metal, sparks, and then this happened.
Oh wow.
Easily mistaken for a mushroom cloud.
Yeah. For context, because I obviously
Yeah,
for
describe
obvious
what you're seeing.
for obvious reasons I will not be putting this on screen, but it is a giant cloud of smoke that has burst up from the sea, and it is very reminiscent of a mushroom cloud, especially if you were in a close vicinity and not looking at it from a distance.
If you want to see the picture, the easiest way is to search Halifax explosion on Wikipedia. It's the first image for a reason.
Yeah. Well, at the end of you said World War One, right? 1917?
1917.
Yeah. So if you would just come off of World War One and you see this in the distance, you will think that you are being bombed. So,
Yeah, that was well before the Manhattan Project.
mm,
But yeah, killed almost 1,800 people because it's It's a port town.
Well, yeah.
And 2 ships.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yes.
And I assume that also probably contributed to a lot of regulations in regards to
Yes.
distance from both land and others.
I mean, you can't get more distant if you're unloading things.
That's true. Yeah.
See.
I do hear more about ships that are like crushed from pressure, more so than I hear about them like bursting.
I should make a game about that.
Uh-huh.
Reference, I have barotrauma later tonight.
Yeah. I was about to hit up with iron lung references, more like the submarine route.
Actually, we can get there.
Uh-huh.
So let's talk about some nautical terms.
Okay, hit me with them.
We're blog friends,
Mm-hmm.
naturally meaning that we record nautical miles traveled on the internet.
Mhm.
Of course, weblog comes from logbook, which is a book that records the amount of rope anchored to a piece of wood that's been let out within a certain time frame in order to gauge a ship's speed.
Okay.
So anytime you're hearing about a log, that is reference to throwing a piece of wood tied to a rope behind your ship as a speedometer.
So like an actual log.
It was a shaped piece of wood, but it was referred to as a log because it's just something that floats.
Yeah.
It was a piece of equipment. It was milled and shaped and polished.
Old terminology strikes again.
Mm-hmm.
I get
Could
you.
be a little crude.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, what are the areas of a ship? What are the 4 basic directions?
Port side.
Mm-hmm.
Star side. Is that right?
Close. That it's actually very close.
You're
closer than you should
starboard
be.
side?
Yep.
Okay. Is there a brig? Does that count?
Sometimes there is a holding cell. There's also a bridge, which is a part of a ship derived from the mid boat walkway between the 2 paddles on like river paddle boats.
Okay. I know the middle part, the long
You
middle
have
part,
left
the
and right.
mast.
What are the other directions?
The front.
Uh-huh. What's that called?
That's the tip.
Nope. You can try on the back.
The butt.
What's a different word?
No, I can't say that one.
You're right, it's the aft.
It's the aft. Wait, is it actually called the aft?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
From AF, AF, or F, which also developed into the word off for use in other fields. It means far, behind, or away.
Okay.
Recently, it's been circulating the explanation of the term favoring in veterinary or equestrian use. The example is favoring the off hind, which means an animal is being extra gentle on the back leg that is farther from the speaker.
It's
So
crazy
nautical-
how like all the ship terms just kind of devolve into other terms.
Well, that's how language works.
It's true. I mean, you're right. You're right. Boats were around for a very long time, so it would make sense for them to apply those to other things. You're correct. You're right.
In a nautical sense, aft would be more synonymous with the hind or posterior, meaning toward the back.
Okay.
Fore, on the other hand, which is the front, is a very old word that we all know, even if we've never heard it bare like that.
Well, I was close with tip when it came to fore. I was close. And some people would say that I was correct even, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
We're talking about more than that.
Yep.
So it's considered incorrect to use a word in its own definition, but that's difficult when it's the root of more common terms today. If you look up the etymology of fore, you'll see that it means like before or formerly or forward, as in the direction, not to be confused with forward, the words to the fore of your book.
So is it F-O-R or is it F-O-R-E?
F-O-R-E.
Okay.
You know how compound words go.
Yeah, sometimes they drop letters.
Yes.
Yeah.
It means to the front or the face or anterior. A similar example to off is that before they were tied on, we called aprons pinafores because they were just pieces of fabric that were pinned afore, meaning to the front of a more precious article of clothing in order to protect that from whatever work you're doing. Prefix a, of course, means to or toward, so it becomes very easy to direct someone to stow cargo in the hold of 4 of their quarters.
Ah, I getcha. Okay.
Now,
Now,
you were closer than you should have been in determining starboard.
well, I've watched a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes. What's the progression of ships, of like ship power in your mind?
I always like the progression of ship power. Are you talking
Like,
about
how
like
can you propel a ship?
so there's steamboats.
Hmm.
There's
What's before that?
before steamboats paddles.
Yes.
Do I need to go in
Before that,
between? Oh, before that.
you were both between and after.
Both between and after. Okay.
Sorry, between and before. Yes.
So there was paddle boats. A lot of people would go based on current, both wind current and ocean current.
And before that,
Before current, they swam.
no, the paddles are in there twice.
Double paddle, like
They're really good.
the stick paddle that you
There's
do.
like a paddle like an oar.
Yeah,
There's sailing, of course,
yeah.
and then there's paddles like paddle boats.
Oh, with your feet, those ones.
No, let me pull that up. That's one method, but I'm talking about at scale.
I mean, I've used a paddle boat in a duck pond before, but I don't think that counts.
It does. Generally, I'm talking passenger boats,
Yeah. Okay.
which is steam powered.
Whenever I think of like the little steamboats and tugboats, I always think of them being like in the deep south on the river, you know.
Yes. So there was, before rudders were in the center back of the boat, there was a special steering oar to the aftmost sailor. It's placed in the easier reach of his right hand, because most people are right-handed,
Mm.
and that job was just to steer the boat with this special oar.
Okay.
So turning towards this early rudder for better control when pulling into dock, the actual dock would inevitably be on the side facing his back. Thus,
And
the Old English terms starboard and bakeboard were born.
I see.
Yes.
It's all
Uh,
coming full
mhm.
circle now.
Board means side. It is the star's side, but it's the steering side because store means to steer.
I'm not sure which side the starboard side
I
and
just said
the
it's
port
the
side
right.
are. Starboard side is right.
Yeah, the steering side is on the right with the stronger right arm for the oar.
Nice.
That's steering side, which drifted to become starboard. So about 700 years after bakeboard was codified, or backboard, so backside turned into load side or laidboard, as goods and personnel were transferred to and from the dock on the ship's left.
Okay.
That's the side that you became laden on, which became starboard and larboard.
So, which side usually has the ramp on it? I feel like there's usually like a ramp on one side of the boat, but not
The
the other.
loading side.
Now, does it matter what side the loading side is on?
It's generally the larboard.
Okay.
You can, in theory, make a ship backwards, just as you can, in theory, train a horse to be mounted from the right, but it's not generally done.
There's no reason to do that except to inconvenience yourself and everyone else. Right. I wonder if there's like I assume there's like specific criteria that involve making a ferry versus a passenger boat versus like a cargo boat, besides
There
just the route it takes.
Just the size, what's cheapest to make.
Because I assume like different types of boats don't have to follow different requirements for the type of body of water that they are in.
Yes and no. So it's common practice for ships to be repurposed.
Okay. Like dismantled
It's
and
often
redone.
renamed. Yes. So what was the ship that was 2 ships that were cut in half and Frankenstein together?
This one I've heard about. I
Yes,
cannot recall the name.
one of them started with the Z.
Okay. The plural.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's it. That's the name.
That's the name. I feel like there's been quite a few boats that are like that, where they're disassembled and reassembled to become either
Oh, yes, the Zubian.
Zubian. It's pretty good.
Yes. That is the combination of the destroyers Zulu and Nubian.
Those are both names that would be absolutely memed on for the rest of time nowadays.
I'll clarify. The HMS Zulu and HMS Nubian from 1909. Are you familiar with HMS?
I am not.
Okay, so what kind of power do we run on?
A grid?
Close. How does that work?
Fossil fuels?
That's one source, but it works through steam.
Okay.
It's all steam. It's steam all the way down.
Everything's just steam. It all circles back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime you're going to produce power at scale, such as for a grid, it's just so convenient and efficient to use steam somewhere along the way. For, what am I saying? Not encapsulated, but like self-contained smaller uses, like cars. You don't need to include steam in the system, but once you get into an economy of scale, you might as well.
Is it more cost effective?
It is, and you can also combine multiple sources of heat generation to have one or split different ways into multiple different sources output.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yes. So we've been making steam turbines since the first coming of Christ. Roughly. Somewhere between 30 BC and vaguely 1st century AD.
So quite literally.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Good reference point there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more of a novelty back then with Heroes Engine, which I actually made in history class, and it got sabotaged before my presentation. But it's very easy to make. It is just a ball or tube full of water with 2 pipes that end in right angles for opening on opposite sides, and then a heat source below it, and the center ball is on an axle.
Okay.
So you heat it up, the water inside turns to steam, and it spins.
So as long as you have water boiling, then you're good to go.
That's power.
Yeah.
So that is a generator. It transfers mechanical energy, which is the heat, into electrical energy.
Okay.
But it's directly into a different kind of mechanical energy. To be also a motor. It's weird how it jumps there, but they didn't have much use for electricity back then.
Yeah.
We often have some in-between stuff going on now.
Parts, pieces, ulterior motives, all of the above. So
about 1800 years after that, we really started harnessing steam's potential, and haven't really moved on from that until we're starting experiments around 4 years ago, which are thermophotovoltaic stuff, which loses about 20% efficiency in comparison to modern steam production. But you don't need to worry about that until it can actually leave a lab.
Is that in relation to like thermodynamics or?
It's just a type of power generation that doesn't involve steam.
All right. Everything is just so steam-based.
It's steam.
It's all steam.
Yes.
Evaporates. So wait, then how much actual like ship production stuff is done with steam? Is it just
It was a lot. That's what I'm getting into with the prefixes. So it's not so much anymore because we run ships like cars now on just direct diesel engines.
Yeah.
But it was revolutionary during the Industrial Revolution.
One could say it was the Industrial Revolution.
Yes. So, why is sailing an improvement over manual propulsion?
Well, you don't break both your arms trying to go forward. That's a pretty good start. Nobody's getting tired about it.
It's a lot less manpower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to throw a couple overboard whenever you can't quite get there. Need a little more speed.
And what's the most glaring shortcoming of sailing?
As in?
Wind propulsion.
Wind propulsion?
Yes.
In what sense?
When is it not a great idea to use wind propulsion on your boat?
Tornado? No, wait, there's no tornadoes on the... Well, there is tornadoes on the ocean. That's just a hurricane.
Yeah.
Or when there's no wind.
Yes, that's the main one.
Tornado, no wind.
You're
Everything
kind of fucked
okay.
no matter which way you go if there's a hurricane.
Well, you can go in the middle.
It doesn't really matter how you move forward if you're spinning.
Well, I think Dorothy had a pretty good time.
Is that what you describe it as, a good time?
Describe it as a good time.
So, what if we could do steady manual propulsion in all weather without inordinate amounts of manpower.
That would be a good thing to do.
Yeah,
As long as you have the resources to do so.
it would. Yeah. Well, we've developed the resources. And the answer to that question of what would happen is that people would be very suspicious of its reliability, and you spend several fortunes constructing big steel ships that no one will board because it's a low-lying, heavy box that looks like it's on fire all the time.
You know, that in hindsight that's fair. Like if you went up to a ship nowadays and you had no
And there was
idea
just
what you were
smoke
looking at.
coming out of it, and it's making loud noises all the
Yeah.
time. And it's made of heavy metal when you're used to nice, mostly above water, wooden sailing vessels.
Oh, I don't know if you remember this, but remember that cruise ship crash? Like it must have been in the last 5 years, right? Where it was just like two cruise ships collided with each other, but just barely.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like caught on a sandbar, I think.
Yes. Intentionally?
Maybe. Well, I don't know if it was an intentional one. Like what happened in the Panama Canal? Was it the Panama Canal? Where they got
I
the entire
believe
nose of it
no,
stuck?
no, that was Egypt. That canal. I believe that's a Suez, or it's another one of the huge ones.
I know it was something
I know
canal.
you're talking about the Evergreen.
Yeah, the one that just like dug its nose into the
Yes,
entirety of the bank
absolutely the Suez. Yes, 2021.
and proceeded to be stuck there for a while.
Yeah,
Everyone was real mad about it.
it shouldn't have been there, and it was someone who worked the canal that did it. It was too big to be in the canal, but freight insists that a ship wider than the clearance just go through anyway. They actually had to pass control from the captain who knew the ship to someone who's used to navigating through this specific stretch of water,
Which
and
is
they beefed it.
I wonder I wonder what happened there.
Yeah,
It was impressive that they
what?
managed to do that.
I remember everyone saying that the next ship to pass through could do something really funny.
Okay, but in their defense, it would have been really funny if it happened again.
It would have been really funny if they just immediately just cranked it.
Oh, all I can think of during that is like when you free an animal from like a fence or something, because you know
And they
animals
just
run
go
into the
right
fence
back in.
and they just run right back in.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. How do things like that get? Is there like a specific bit at the bottom of a lot of boats or something that can just kind of stick
Well,
like
they
that?
went forward and struck the side of the canal and dug in there.
I get you.
And the way that the current flowed,
Mm.
more or less, when they were digging out that section, the ship just kept rotating further into the problem.
Yep.
So it took a lot of excavation and people working around the clock to get that untwisted. But yes, there is often a protruding keel. It depends on the purpose of the ship.
I remember the
I
word keel
don't.
from Power Wash Simulator.
Yes.
Washed a boat.
I don't believe that the Evergreen was an icebreaker, but it could have been, maybe in a former life.
An icebreaker?
Yes, a ship that's heavily reinforced at the front and shaped in such a way to literally smash through frozen water.
So those are like ideal for Arctic, Antarctic.
Yes, very big on the Great Lakes. It's often that the Queen of the Lakes will just make a path for smaller ships to go through.
With the ocean and the ice on the ocean, since it has like a much is it lower freezing temperature? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yes.
Yeah, and it just kind of turns to slush most of the time.
There's light ice and there's heavy ice.
Does it
It's
make the ice
constantly freezing and breaking.
does it make the ice harder from like
Often, yes. You also just can't tell how deep it is or how far it'll go because it's easier to break up a piece of ice if it's not 10 miles wide.
yeah.
It'll give a lot less resistance.
I always wondered about like because there's been quite a few ships that have ended up. I want to say it's the Antarctic that have been
Mhm.
stranded down there because the ice will freeze in behind them when they're trying to get
Yes, I
out.
said play some Stan Rogers.
Yeah, but I know there's quite a few of those. So, but there's only so much you can do to prevent that. Like, you would only be able to really travel in places where you're very, or you're barely into the ice, or you just have to keep going in a straight line.
You have to follow a known route during a specific season. Pray if that's something you do, and sometimes have teams working ahead of you to break the ice.
Oh, would they send people, like, actually just out onto the ice in order to...
It depends. It's common to have a specific ice breaking ship go through and clear a path.
Okay.
But they got what is that? The Hudson Strait and the Hudson Bay is a curious area where in theory they could have, if they wanted to do some crazy shit that they do in Canada sometimes historically, they could just blow up the ice from either side of the land.
That'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, there are a lot of international laws written about things that Canadians do.
I mean, Canada is just so large and so ice, like, most
I
of
don't
the
know
year.
that they specifically do something like that, but it sounds like something that would have been tried a few times.
If there is a problem, someone has definitely tried to blow it up at one point or another.
Yeah,
I think
but
that's
generally having a especially shaped and reinforced bow is the way to do it,
okay.
or just waiting for summer.
Could just wait for summer. That's
Just wait
that's
for
a great
summer
point.
and have a much easier time. Maybe not an ice-free time now, maybe, but an easier time.
More of a slushy than a
Yeah.
popsicle. I get it.
So back to the dangerous-looking ships.
Mm-hmm.
So if you owned a passenger line that was financially sinking before any of the ships could leave port, what would you do?
If I owned a passenger line that was financially sinking, I would
Because no one
probably
would get on your scary ships.
drop the prices and just, cut the staff.
That's one way.
I mean, that's like...
A lot of people went for just like marketing tricks.
I see.
Yes. So this started, of course, in England. It's a big island. They had a big navy because what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So they had a lot of boat-based businesses, including ocean liners, which that's nowadays we would call cruise ships, but they primarily went back and forth across the Atlantic Ocean.
I feel like ocean liners is still a... I've seen the term a lot, at least.
It is. It's not as much of a layman's term anymore.
Okay.
So British naval vessels were differentiated from personal and commercial ships by the prefix His or Her Majesty's ship, which is tiring to write out every time, so it's shortened to HMS.
Oh, so that's what HMS is.
Yes, it means it's part of the British Royal Navy.
All right.
So commercial passenger lines or merchant lines began adopting this practice to make their ocean liners sound fancier than the trusted sailboats with the newly coined steamship, whatever its name, depending on the boat, which is SS.
That I'm familiar with. That one.
Yeah.
That one I know.
This picked up a lot of other terms, a lot of other acronyms, but it also kicked off the tradition of other navies putting a similar national prefix in front of their ships. You and I know the USS for United States Ship.
Yep.
Most countries with a navy have a similar naming scheme for where they live, and it is considered bad form to attack a naval ship with an H shoved into the prefix for hospital.
So if they add an H to it, then it's
like an HMHS.
Okay.
If you attack that, you're attacking a hospital.
So it's kind of the same as like general laws in wars and stuff, where it's like, hey, you do not attack the hospitals. That's bad.
It's done, but you're really not supposed to, because it's a hospital.
Yeah. It's kind of like you're basically kicking people while they're down and also now on a boat.
Yes.
Fair enough.
As this practice was picking up, people realized it might actually have a use outside of tricking people into buying tickets.
Okay.
So, wooden sailing ships were designated by the type of ship that they were, and they generally followed basic schemes of construction. Anyone who's played Sea of Thieves knows about your sloop, your brigantine, your galleon. There are others. Ferries have their own class. Seeing talk about schooners the other day. There are, you understand.
Yeah, different variety, same.
It was easier to memorize what you're talking about when you just drop a term like that.
You got a template. You're just naming a
Yes.
template.
With steamship, the world's your oyster. For a long time, with even modern diesel ships, a fleet was commissioned, and you have general parameters of being roughly this big and these features that this many this much capacity for passengers and crew, this many engines, things like that. And they say, okay, we're making 3 ships, might as well have 3 different docks make them.
Yeah,
3
which makes
different
sense.
manufacturers, dry docks, make them to be done around the same time. They might not look anything like each other. They could be sister ships from the same plans and not be comparable at all, which is the case with the Zubian, in which the front and back didn't really match up and they had to kind of make it wonky in the middle.
Slap some duct tape on it, it'll be fine.
One's
It'll
a
be
little wider than the
fine.
other. They figured it out.
Oh, top-heavy ship, let's go!
Yeah.
That's always... Oh boy!
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Is there a reason ships tend to tip? I've seen it happen a lot more where the back of the boat tends to sink more than the front of the boat, and it tips, like, upwards, like a tombstone.
Heavier.
Just yeah.
Heavier.
Heavier.
And easy. What you see a lot of this is on, like, speedboats.
Yeah.
Your little fishing boats, where what's in the front of the boat?
Your dad, usually.
Yeah. What's in the back?
The giant engine.
And your dad.
And also, both my dads.
Manning the engine is your dad, and at the front is you.
Oh no.
And nothing else.
I'm
like
being
maybe
launched.
a cooler. Yeah.
The beers, no.
Exactly. The heavy side sits lower.
Makes sense.
It's just that.
All I could think about is, like, when ships crash, they tend to crash in the front and or side, because that makes sense. You're either, like, scraping the side or the bottom.
If you have 2 moving objects.
So it was always funny. Like, I understand, like, top heavy, bottom heavy, like, things will tip in that direction, but I see a lot of crashes that happen in the front or side, and then it's like, nope, we're going backwards. We're going up.
It's just so what happens is you don't have your ballasts or ballast tanks divided from fore to aft.
So then it just all goes to the aft.
It goes to the side that's already a little bit lower and makes it worse.
I see.
When the water gets in there, it flows to the low side, fills that up first.
So it is really about having those chambers in order to...
It's about subdividing.
Yeah.
But if 2 of them get punctured, it's happening.
Yep, you're gone. You're going.
Yeah.
You're gone.
That's also why you don't have one big tank. You have a dozen smaller ones. So it's common that maybe 2 or 3 can get punctured and filled before the ship goes down.
I gotcha.
You can kind of limp along to get repaired.
It is really just, I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand with a lot of the way that they reinforced planes during the wars.
Yes.
Where it's like you wanna reinforce the areas that a ship can survive with versus the ones that it cannot.
The other way around, but yes.
Well, you reinforce the areas that it can survive with. No, that's right.
No, you reinforce the areas that it can't survive without.
Yeah, we said the same thing.
Yeah, yes, it makes more sense as a double negative.
That's fair.
But anyway, yes.
Oh.
So the prefix can convey important mechanical details, as everyone was trying different tweaks to this propulsion method. So you talked about the Titanic. What was the prefix on that?
The name of the Titanic?
Yeah, it was the what Titanic?
I didn't know there was a prefix.
There were 3.
There was 3?
Originally, it was the steamship Titanic, and eventually it got contracted to deliver mail, becoming the Royal Mail Ship Titanic. You'll most often see about the accident, the RMS Titanic went down, but it was also the TSS Titanic, which could mean, unclear because it qualified for both, a turbine steamship or a triple screw ship.
What's the difference between a turbine steam and a triple screw?
So a turbine steamship is a steamship that has turbines.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And a triple screw ship is a ship that has 3 screws. Screw meaning propeller.
Oh!
Yes.
I see.
Yeah, the triple screw ship. up until the remaining passengers were saved by the quadruple-screw turbine ship Lusitania, the QSTS.
They just keep making them
It got
longer and
crazy.
longer.
Yes.
I'm gonna put the alphabet as a prefix. Gotta get all my bases covered.
This got progressively more complicated to the point that it was no longer useful. I'm not memorizing all that. I'm not figuring out which order probably means which thing.
And now you have cool names like Betty. I've seen like 8 Betty ships.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Mermaid.
Mm-hmm. So nowadays we designate ships by simple details of their propulsion or use, rather than writing out all the information on how many propellers or turbines there are. So you have like a motor vessel, which is just a regular diesel ship. You can have a SV, which is sailing vessel.
Would that just be any type of ship you
That is
sail
a
with?
sailboat, which now needs its own prefix because it's no longer the default.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's talk about navigational methods or tools.
Alright.
Specific.
You've
I
got
mentioned the early speedometer, which is the log line.
Mhm.
So what is the most essential and revolutionary piece of technology in all forms of navigation?
sonar?
Guess. No.
Satellite?
No.
Compass?
Much closer. It's paper.
Oh,
Paper.
I would have never gotten paper in a million years.
So the first step of navigation is charting. This can mean drawing a literal map, but even more basic than proper cartography is general record. That is saying, this many evenly spaced knots of rope went through my hand in 1 minute when we were traveling. I've passed, this many islands to this side. These stars are at this position in the sky, just to have some sense of what's happening. And of course, having a map and marking where you are on a map.
That part might be incredibly helpful, one could say.
Very important. Satellite refines this, but having anything at all is way more than having it that precise.
At the very least, knowing the general area you are in and what direction you are going. Good.
Yes. So after that, in importance, is anything to measure with, preferably a variety of calipers and rulers to check even distance and like a radius around things and transfer straight lines between two areas.
Whip out the protractor.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, a purpose-specific almanac. So nautical almanacs include weather patterns and astronomical references to help you avoid things like the horse latitudes, or Nova Scotia in December. I butchered that name. I'm running out of time. Yes.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia.
What are the horse latitudes?
Well, there are some likely reasons it's named that, and then there's the fun reason it could be named that.
Were there horses?
Well, there were until they got to those latitudes.
Make more sense for them to say the horseless latitudes then.
So, about 30 degrees north or south of the equator is kind of a dead zone for wind. You have, let me check my directions here. Yes, I was right. You have cold winds that travel toward the west, and you have hot winds that travel toward the east. So right in between those, specifically when talking about transatlantic travel during the colonial periods and sometime thereafter, but the height of sailing. You're kind of stuck. You kind of have no momentum.
You're just adrift.
And yes, and it's hard to get to somewhere where you can get more wind because you can't travel, you can't propel yourself. So, as legend goes, supplies would run out a lot faster than expected because they were spending so much extra time at these latitudes.
Right.
So you have to choose between feeding your human passengers or your livestock with your dwindling rations. And so that they would often throw their horses overboard.
Oh! That's not where I thought that was going.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't they just eat the horses?
You can't eat a horse.
Not with that attitude.
It's not the most likely explanation, but it's the most memorable one.
I'll certainly remember that, yeah.
Yeah, you will. There are also theories about rituals of like making fake horses in order to throw them overboard as a celebration of getting your wages, because sailors would often spend everything they have at once and then have to work for the rest of the voyage with nothing to spend on their other stops or
Why?
on the ship, because you get paid sometimes half before you leave at the start and half when you make port at the end.
No.
And that time in between, when you're broke, could be called dead horse time, where you're in debt to your captain. Another potential explanation is that having to steer yourself into a current and get towed by the current as if you're a carriage being pulled by horses is called being horsed along, which is what they would have to do when they hit that zone.
There's so many funny language things that make it able to be called horses.
So nowadays, most of that legwork is computerized for how to navigate.
Like planes.
Yeah, you have your sonar, and your satellites and all that. So what do you do when you don't have all that?
Without all of the modern navigation?
Well, the modern navigation is mostly variations on the old school navigation.
You look at the sun, and you pick east or west, and you just keep going.
If you have the sun, it's very likely you have a map, or a map you can use, or something like that. What if it's nighttime, or it's cloudy, or more likely you're in a heavy fog bank or a storm? You can't look at the sun or the stars.
Close my eyes, and I pretend that the sun is there, and I pick a direction.
Uh-huh.
Or you can
Kind of, yeah.
you can do the mapping from the point that you're at, like we've been traveling this direction with the wind for this period of time.
Yes. You can do what's called dead reckoning. So to reckon means to estimate, means to make an educated guess or calculation at the information.
That I reckon is true.
Exactly. I figure. And dead, all of your equipment is dead, or you're about to. You
Both.
don't have any good information. But what you can likely calculate, especially on screw ships, is speed. So this does come into play in like heavy fog, which is often near a coast. So if you know the distance roughly between where you should be and where you need to be, and about how many rotations of your propeller it takes to cover a certain distance, you can track how many rotations you make and calculate how many it will take to reach your destination.
Okay.
And just worry about not hitting a rock in front of you in the fog.
That would be more so the concern, wouldn't it?
Yes. So if you know that there's, let's say, 2 false bays and then a real port in a deeper bay, and you can only kind of see them as you pull close enough to risk running aground, you can just stay in the deeper water and calculate how many rotations of your screw it should take to get near the real port before you pull into coast.
Okay.
That's dead reckoning, and if you have nothing else, it works better than just closing your eyes and gunning it.
Do a little spin in a circle and point in a direction, and you say, all right, let's do this thing.
Yep.
Throw the anchor at a
The
seagull.
reason it has such a bad reputation is that you often have to resort to this when the waters are less than calm.
Storm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would
Or
do
just
it.
heavy waves. But
That
for
would-
some reason, your propeller is leaving the water, so some of those rotations don't count. So you have to guess at how much to overestimate by. It'll happen that if you say, okay, we've reached the amount of turns it should take to get to our destination. I see something that looks like the right bay, roughly. Let me pull in there. If your propeller has been going in and out of the water, you might only be halfway there.
At that point, wouldn't it be more like, I assume that it is generally considered bad because of the amount of people that would have been screwed anyways, and they ignore the fact that a lot of people did make it back by doing that.
A lot of people did. Some people didn't. I'm not sure what your question is.
Like, I assume it has a bad reputation not because it doesn't always work, but because of such a high death percentage because of
Yes,
the conditions.
in comparisons to other methods of navigation, it has a really high failure rate.
I
But that's
wonder
because
why.
you only resort to it when all your other methods are gone.
Yeah.
If someone comes into your modern ship and shoots your computer for whatever reason, yeah.
Pulls out my phone. Don't worry, guys. I've got this.
Yes,
Pulls out my compass app.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You're out of range. There's no cell tower.
A lot of phones have satellite now.
Yeah, I know.
We never have to deal with this
But
again. Woo!
exactly. Never again. Yep.
Mm-hmm.